Hi guys, this is gsnhome.com and I'm here with a review of the Samsung Galaxy A6, aka the Samsung Galaxy A6 2018. So this is basically a Samsung Galaxy A8 2018 in a light version, or simply a follow-up of the Galaxy J5 2017. It's priced at around $300. It's a mid-range phone, part of the, let's say, mid-range area. There's also a low mid-range area, there's also high mid-range area. This is the mid-range area. Comes in black, violet or gold, and I suppose here we have maybe the violet hue, although it looks gray to me. Anyways, let's talk about the design. This handset is obviously made of metal, unibody with these antenna cutouts like the Galaxy J5 2017. It's got the antenna lines, it's got the metal build, it's got the camera with a fingerprint scanner below it. It feels like an iPad or iPhone, and it's quite comfy, also pretty tall, pretty long, and luckily easy to use with a single hand, although the diagonal has increased quite a bit from the Galaxy J5 from last year. Now this is it as far as the design is concerned. 7.7 millimeters in thickness, 162 grams, and it's a pretty solid design, albeit not as pretty as the J5 2017, to be honest. On the screen front, 5.6-inch Super AMOLED, 1480/720 pixels, 18.5:9 aspect, and we're here to show you a video, obviously, to put the screen to the test. Things are pretty vivid here, I have to say that from the start. It's a compliment, of course. Vivid colors, excellent brightness, pretty nice contrast, rather crisp, and also wide view angles. Now, if you want to talk about the pixel arrangement, it's this one, typical pentile matrix for a Super AMOLED. We measured the brightness and achieved 438 lux units, which is quite solid. It beats phones like the Huawei P10 Plus, the HTC U11, and even the Galaxy J5 2017. Scores below the Zenfone 5 and the Samsung Galaxy A5 2017. Now this is it about the screen. I'm pretty impressed by it, and if you're wondering about the settings, I would say they're rather typical. You go here, you got your brightness, auto brightness, blue light filter, font and screen zoom, and the adaptive area with the AMOLED Cinema, Photo, Basic, and Adaptive screen. Plus a few more icon frames, block accidental touches, and so forth. Okay, so moving on to other specs, we're meeting here with an Exynos 7870 CPU. We've seen it on the Galaxy J5 2017 last year. It's an octa-core chip. It also has 3 GB around this phone, 32 GB of storage, of which 22 GB are accessible to the user, micro SD card slot, and absolutely no lag, no matter what you're doing, no matter what's installing or uninstalling. You will never meet lag, and I'm happy about that. It also handles gaming like a champ. We use Riptide GP Renegade when we're playing. I'm also going to talk to you about some benchmarks. In Antutu 6, we beat LG Q6 and the Nokia 6, scored below the Sony Xperia XA and the Motorola Moto M. I have to admit, not very impressed by the benchmarks, expect a bit more. The CPU hasn't aged gracefully. It scores below the Huawei P9 Lite as well in Antutu 6. In Antutu 7, it's actually a bit better, above the Nokia 6 and Bluebo S3, but below the Xiaomi Redmi 5 Plus. In Geekbench 4, the multi-core test, it beats Galaxy J5 2017, also Galaxy A3 2017, not bad. Scores below the Xperia XA1, which is a 2017 phone, so not that good. The game looks fine, I see no stutter, I'm pretty happy with the frame rate, but if they're making a new Riptide, it may not suffice. In Slingshot, we beat Galaxy A5 2016, so not that impressive. We score below the Galaxy A3 2017. Pretty low benchmarks, I would say I'm a bit underwhelmed by that. When it comes to the temperature, we had 35.8 degrees Celsius in the game you saw before Riptide, and we did a GFX bench test and achieved, let's see, 22.4 degrees Celsius, so there's no overheating, at least there's that. When it comes to the battery, it's a familiar story, 3000 mAh, like we saw on the Galaxy J5 2017. Let's see how it did in our typical HD video playback test. So let's check it out and find it, provided we actually can. During the continuous HD video playback time, I was actually impressed by the 12 hours, 25 minutes. It's pretty good. Beats the Sony Xperia XZ1 Compact, iPhone 10, and LG G6. Scores below the Huawei P9 Lite 2017. And by the way, it's the equal, on par, iPhone 7. Not bad. Now, the PC Mark test, equally impressive, 9 hours, 44 minutes. It beats Galaxy S7 Edge and Galaxy Note 8, and that speaks for itself. The charging requires 1 hour and 50 minutes, which is okay, and sure beats something like the Huawei P9, for example. We got power saving settings, and overall I would say it's a pretty good battery. Okay, so we're moving further from the battery to the acoustics. We got a singular speaker right here, oddly placed, but I've seen that a million times on the Galaxy J models. Now we're going to use Google Play Music, of course, here with a bunch of tweaks and settings. If you've seen a Samsung phone for the past years, you know exactly what to expect. So you go here to equalizer, you got your custom bass treble knobs. This area, there's normal, pop, classic, advanced, come on, basic, UHQ upscaler, tube amp pro, adapt sound, you know the drill. Let's go to the tunes, play a tune. Okay, conclusions, I'm pretty happy with the volume, not the loudest in the world, but still satisfying. A pretty nice bass, clear sound, warm voice, no vibration, no distortion, no problem whatsoever. The headphones you saw in the unboxing, they're generic, they're basic, they're not very comfy, and overall not that impressive. There's FM radio here, and we also did a bunch of tests. We have a decibel meter, which measures the strength of the sound, 82.9 decibels. It can beat something like the Samsung Galaxy A5 2016 and the Galaxy A5 2017, scores below the Huawei Nova and the Xperia XA2. The other test was a bit more impressive, the one in Riptide GP Renegade, 101.3 decibels. It beats Galaxy Note 8 and Galaxy A8 2018, and that's all you need to know. Pretty solid acoustics all around, and this placement here guarantees you will not cover it by mistake in landscape. On the camera front, it's a pretty specific package. 16 megapixel LED flash. At the front, 16 megapixel LED flash. That's everything you need to know. F1.9 aperture up front, F1.7 aperture at the back, face detection autofocus at the back, and you'll even have Bixby Vision for some reason and some stickers. Anyways, you saw the interface a bit in the unboxing. It's pretty typical Samsung Experience 9.0 affair. Let's go straight to the camera. As you can see, you have a lot of shots. I exaggerated with the selfies maybe. Things to remember here. Well, let's start. It was a very sunny day, somewhere between 30 and 40 degrees Celsius, and I have to say that I love the colors and the clarity. It was ultra sunny, and sometimes I felt some over processing of the images, like it happened back in the days of the Galaxy A5 2017 and 2016. The zoom is, I would say, okay-ish at about 2x. Go further and you'll be met with a bunch of grain. Bunch of over processing here. The colors are a bit unrealistic, and once you start to zoom in on your PC or on your screen, you'll see some lack of details for the trees. This is an example of HDR. No HDR and HDR here, lighting it up a little bit. The best attributes of the phone, well, close-ups, they're rather good. You will not have to take multiple close-ups. They come out fine every time. I'm pretty happy with that. Close-ups are actually flagship worthy in my book. Generous panorama, 11,152, 976. Clarity was good in general, no missed shots. And when it comes to the selfies, at first there was one experience which was pretty okay, just okay, nothing fancy. But then I discovered you actually have a sort of bokeh mode. You can actually apply it to some pretty impressive results. So this is the bokeh, it blurs the background, and it's actually not half bad for a singular camera. The skin tones are okay, the colors okay, but for a 16 megapixel camera I expected extra details and maybe not as much of a burnt background. So overall I would say it beats the recently tested Nokia 6.1, but it's only a 15 to 20% jump from the Galaxy J5 2017. This is the daytime capture, and I would say it also beats some of the models from last year, the Motorola Moto G5s, for example. If you want a comparison, it may drop below the Moto G6 a bit, maybe, just because it has a dual camera. Now, during the night time, we had some trouble. I ran into some sort of a mauve hue. The flash was excellent. It was tip-top, pretty bright, and not messing with the colors. But in the later frames, there was a bit of a mauve purple tint, which I find to be annoying. Too bad, since the clarity was quite okay. Yes, it was darker than usual, there was some blur, and overall this feels like at the level of a Huawei P9 Lite. That's the best it gets. It may be somewhere between the Zenfone 2 and the Zenfone 3, closer to the Zenfone 3, but it's certainly not hugely impressive even for a mid-range phone. I'm sure you can get a Xiaomi to behave better at night at a similar price tag. And in some areas I feel it's actually inferior to the Galaxy J5 2017, shockingly. Okay, so this was the photos. We also have videos, of course only full HD, no love for 4K, and videos look like this. The best thing I remember about this filming was the microphone. There was actually some World Cup game playing here on this island, and I could hear the whole commentary going on, so that was pretty impressive in my book. Okay, so I could hear perfectly the match with Cristiano Ronaldo and so forth. The bad thing about the filming is the lack of stabilization, talking about electronic stabilization, and even that way I wanted a bit more. The colors are okay. I actually experienced less burn than I expected for a 30 degrees day. So less burn than expected, okay colors, okay clarity. Too much motion, too much shaking and jittering, and that's annoying, and even some annoying refocusing. It's on par with the LG Q6 maybe also the Huawei Mate 10 Lite, but not more than that. When it comes to the low light capture, things are predictably not very impressive. I only show you one video and you'll get the gist of it. Come on, let's actually find it. This is it. This is a big video. It's very dark actually. I filmed here before and it's much darker than usual. We got a pretty okay panning, okay clarity, poor zoom, and once again, very good microphone. Actually, I'm fond of this microphone. Dark, shaky, not bad colors, okay street light halos, and some weird reflections towards the end. In conclusion, this is basically a jump of 15%, maybe 20% tops from the Samsung Galaxy J5 2017, and it's much more inferior compared to the Samsung Galaxy A8 2018. It's also inferior to the Sony Xperia XA2, for example. When it comes to the connectivity, there is a micro USB port here, there's an audio jack, dual SIM, and also separated by the micro SD, which is nice to see. They got separated slots. 4G LTE, ANT+, GPS, GLONASS, Beidou. There's Bluetooth 4.2. I wish there was 5.0. Wi-Fi Direct, Wi-Fi ABGN, NFC, and the calls were loud and clear. Now, we also did a bunch of speed tests, and let's see how those panned out. These are the results. So on Wi-Fi, up to 99 megapixel downloads, 25.1 megapixel uploads, and on 4G, 90.3 over 48.2. Actually, not that bad. I'm not going to talk very much about the software. It's Android Oreo with Samsung Experience 9.0, feeling very similar to what we left off on the Samsung Galaxy A8 2018, although that one had Nougat. Anyways, it's got those minimalistic icons which are very abstract and also skeuomorphic. We got the Bixby cards here. We got ones for the steps you take, for the weather, for the reminders, for the music player. Basically everything can be fit in here on a single window and pinned to the top if you want it. I'm sure you can get your Facebook in there, no problemo. And then if you want multitasking, you got this option here, but you can also do split screen. So on one part of the screen, you got your video player and you're watching videos. On the other part, you're browsing the App Store, searching for the next Pokemon Go. Okay, so that's the multitasking in a nutshell, and you just experienced some lag. Keep the screen pressed, you'll treat it to wallpapers, themes, widgets, and home screen settings. Widgets are those ones, as usual, with a white background, very clean, very smooth, and very nice to use. Okay, the drop-down section is typical, notifications, and also quick settings, some of them quite useful, mobile hotspot, blue light filter, secure folder, and so forth. By the way, you also have Dolby Atmos as an enhancement for the speaker. Now here are the main settings. We got advanced features like games, one-hand use, fingerprint scanner gestures, device assistance, and so forth, plus dual messenger. The fingerprint scanner is placed right here. It's quite fast to unlock the device, but it requires 20 steps to set up. Speaking of steps to set up, you also have the face scanning on the phone, which is quite snappy to unlock your device and recognizes me pretty easily. Now, other than that, we have 40 pre-installed apps. I counted them all. You got your Microsoft apps, you got your Excel, LinkedIn, OneDrive, PowerPoint, and Word. And also we got your Galaxy App Store, Samsung Health, SmartThings for connecting to your smart home gear. And here we can monitor your sleeping, your water consumption, and so forth. Of course, steps and calories. Okay, I think that's that, and I'm going to go to the verdict now. Okay, so while I'm telling you the verdict, I'm also going to perform the setup for the security. I will not leave you hanging about that feature. So let's go to the security while we talk about the pros and cons. On the pro side, we have here a phone that has some good looks, a solid screen, an excellent battery. It moves pretty fluidly with no lag. And also, we take some pretty good pictures with both the back camera and the front camera. Now, I have to say, the microphone was also pretty impressive. And we're setting up my face. Okay, good audio, and the fact we have Android Oreo is of course welcome. Okay, so we're done with the face setup. Now let's see how fast it can unlock using simply my face. Reasonably fast, not flagship level, but still okay. Those were the pros you heard before. Now let's see also the cons. The benchmarks were underwhelming. There's a last year CPU. The phone is a bit pricey. The screen is just HD. There's no stereo speaker. There's no waterproofing. There's no USB Type-C port. There's no fast charging. And the stabilization, the electronic one from the camera, was rather weak. Now, the ideal price tag for this phone would be something like, I don't know, $200 or $250, not $300. So this at 200 and a bit would be a hit, but at this value, you may be better off buying the higher version of the Galaxy J5 2017. This is basically just a bump, just a 20% bump or 15% bump from the J5 2017. I'm not saying it in a bad way. That was a solid phone. This is also a very solid phone, but not a huge update, just a modest update in the camera department, and maybe that's about it. Just the camera is an upgrade here, and maybe the extra gigabyte of RAM, also the slightly bigger screen, and I actually think the predecessor looked better. In the end, the choice is yours. If you have the money, get this one, of course, not the one from last year. But if you're a cheapskate or not have enough money, you can go with the J5 2017 with ease, at least till the price for this one drops. This has been the review of the Samsung Galaxy A6 2018 here at gsndom.com. Bye bye.